Hello friends. In our series to understand the indicators that are options for GDP to truly reflect development, in last video we had seen Irish ecosystem accounting project named InCase. Let us move ahead and deep dive into another new indicator called gross national happiness. In this video we will understand what is gross national happiness, how it came into existence, the 4 pillars of it, and domains and indicators of gross national happiness. And last point is the last, that is 2015 gross national happiness report findings. So let's start with first, what is gross national happiness or GNH? Gross national happiness is a measure of economic and moral progress. Rather than focusing strictly on quantitative economic measures, gross national happiness takes into account an evolving mix of quality of life factors. This term is coined by His Majesty, the 4th King of Bhutan, Jigme Singye Wangchuck in 1970s as an alternative to gross domestic product or GDP. The concept implies that sustainable development should take a holistic approach towards notions of progress and give equal importance to non-economic aspects of well-being. The Gross National Happiness Index is a single number index developed from 33 indicators categorized under 9 domains. It is constructed upon a robust multi-dimensional methodology known as Alkar-Foster method. If you have a question regarding this method, let's see about it in 1 minute. The Alkar-Foster method is developed by Sabina Alkar and James Foster at OPHI, that is Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative. It is a flexible technique for measuring poverty or well-being. It can incorporate different dimensions and indicators to create measures adapted to specific contexts. This means the AF method can be used in several different ways. Employing a variant of the Alkar-Foster method, the Gross National Happiness Index is generated. Now we come to the second point and how it came to existence. When modernization was stepped up in 1970s, the 4th King, Jigme Singye Wangchuck, began to make repeatedly certain public pronouncements about happiness and well-being. His Majesty observed in the 1970s that many nations had modernized successfully to be termed developed. But it was also the process of conventional development often overlooked a universal desire that people had, like happiness and peace of mind. There has been always focus on happiness of people in Bhutan before that time also. For example, the Kingdom of Bhutan's first legal code, written at a time of unification in 1729, states that if the government cannot create happiness for its people, there is no purpose for that government. His Majesty's dictum that became a catchphrase, gross national happiness is more important than gross domestic product, was captured in an interview in 1986 in the Financial Times of London. In that interview, he said, "We are convinced that we must aim for contentment and happiness. Whether we take 5 years or 10 to raise the per capita income and increase prosperity is not going to guarantee that happiness, which includes political stability, social harmony, and the Bhutanese culture and way of life. It is clear that relying on GDP alone may not provide the environment for happiness and well-being. Something beyond GDP would have to be addressed to be holistic." It is not clear how seriously King had thought through this new metrics, but Bhutanese scholars have since picked up the idea and run with it. The gross national happiness has evolved into a somewhat scientific measure of the once isolated kingdom's economic and moral development. In 1998, the government of Bhutan established the Center for Bhutan Studies and Gross National Happiness, CBS GNH, or simply CBS, to conduct research on the topic. The institute's mandate was to develop a gross national happiness index and indicators that the government could build into its public policy decisions. Appreciating importance of this initiative, in 2011, the United Nations General Assembly passed a resolution, Happiness, towards a holistic approach to development, urging member nations to follow the example of Bhutan and measure happiness and well-being, and calling happiness a fundamental human goal. Now let's come to our third point, 4 pillars of this index. To achieve the goal, the Gross National Happiness Center in Bhutan developed what it calls the 4 pillars of gross national happiness. These are good governance, sustainable development, preservation and promotion of culture, and environmental conservation. The 2008 Constitution dictates that lawmakers must take it into account when considering new legislation. Lately, the 4 pillars have been further classified into 9 domains in order to create a widespread understanding of gross national happiness and to reflect the holistic range of this index. The Gross National Happiness Index is decomposable by any demographic characteristics, meaning it can be broken down by population group. For example, to show the composition of gross national happiness among men and among women, or by district or by dimension, for example, to show which group is lacking in education. The indicators and domains aim to emphasize different aspects of well-being and different ways of meeting underlying human need. Now let's see about some detail into this different 9 domains and the indicators. In order to foster measurement of a holistic range of gross national happiness values, a domain-based framework has been adopted by the CBS. The framework contains 9 constituent domains of GNH. They are psychological well-being, health, time use, education, cultural diversity and resilience, good governance, community vitality, ecological diversity and resilience, and living standard. The 9 domains are equally weighted because each domain is considered to be equal in terms of its intrinsic importance as a component of gross national happiness. The domains represent each of the components of well-being of the Bhutanese people, and the term well-being here refers to fulfilling conditions of a good life, as per the values and principles laid down by the concept of gross national happiness. It will be noticed from the breadth of domain that a good number of them, like balanced time use, psychological well-being, community vitality, and cultural diversity, are fairly independent of income and material consumption. By using this, the definition and context of the concept of well-being and happiness becomes multidimensional. Each of the 9 domains are briefly explained below. First is psychological well-being. This domain attempts to understand how people experience the quality of their lives. It includes reflective cognition evaluations such as life satisfaction and affective reactions of life events such as positive and negative emotions. It also covers spirituality. Second, health. This domain comprises of conditions that a human body and mind, and thereby attempts to characterize health by including both physical and mental states. A healthy quality of life allows us to get through our daily activities without undue fatigue and physical stress. Third is time use. This domain attempts to analyze the nature of time spent on work, non-work, and sleep, and highlights the importance of maintaining a harmonious work-life balance. Fourth is education. Besides incorporating formal and informal education, this domain also tries to assess different types of knowledge, values, and skills which are mostly acquired informally. Fifth point is cultural diversity and resilience. The culture domain looks at the diversity and strength of cultural traditions, including festivals, norms, and the creative art. Sixth is good governance. The domain of good governance evaluates how people perceive various governmental functions in terms of their efficacy, honesty, and quality. Indicators help to evaluate the level of participation in government decisions at the local level and the presence of various rights and freedom. Seventh is community vitality. This domain attempts to focus on the strength and weakness of relationship and interaction within communities. This domain gathers information on social cohesion among family members and neighbors and practices like volunteering. Eighth is ecological diversity and resilience. This domain encompasses indicators that measures people's own evaluations on environmental conditions of their neighborhood and assess eco-friendly behavior patterns. It also covers hazards such as forest fires and earthquakes. And last, ninth is living standards. This domain refers to the level of material comfort as measured by income, conditions of financial stability, housing, and asset ownership. Together, these 9 domains attempt to paint a multicultural picture of well-being, incorporating a set of key constituents. These domains collectively provide the structure for the Gross National Happiness Index and the means to track Bhutan's progress of well-being using the aforementioned policy tools. Now, let's come to the last point of this. Fifth point is the 2015 Gross National Happiness Index report. This report, called A Compass Towards a Just and Harmonious Society, presents the detailed finding from the survey for use by both experts and general public. So what kind of results we get from this index? People who have achieved sufficiency and less than 50% are unhappy. People having sufficiency between 50 to 65% of domains are called narrowly happy. People having sufficiency in 66 to 76% in between 6 to 7 domains are called as extensively happy. And in the last group, people identified as deeply happy because they enjoy sufficiency in 77% or more of weighted indicators, which is the equivalent of 7 or more of the 9 domains. Employing a variant of the Elkar-Foster method, the Gross National Happiness Index generates 3 types of results. First is head count, then intensity, and overall Gross National Happiness Index. Head count refers to the percentage of Bhutanese people who are happy, while intensity is the average number of domains in which not yet happy people are happy. So what does this index 2015 index tell us? If we consider 4 groups of Bhutanese according to the level of Gross National Happiness, 43.4% of Bhutanese are deeply or extensively happy, with 91.2% enjoying sufficiency in at least 50% of the Gross National Happiness indicators. The 2015 indicator value is 0.756. This index grew significantly from 2010 to 2015 from 0.743 to 0.756, showing across the 9 domains of Gross National Happiness, overall people's lives are getting better. During this time, material well-being increased strongly. Income, housing, assets. Also, a massive 20% of Bhutanese saw increases in their asset to services, electricity, clean water, hygiene waste disposal, and healthcare. The health conditions of many improved, as did participation in cultural festivals. So, there are multiple improvements in citizens' homes and lives. Formal education is rising. For example, whereas in 2010, 11% of the youth aged 15 to 20 were illiterate. In 2015, it was only 5%. In 2010, 59% of Bhutanese reported having positive emotions such as calmness, compassion, forgiveness, contentment, and generosity a few times a week. By 2015, this had fallen to 51%. In overview of the Gross National Happiness, we can say that the true contentment follows from the sense that others are happy, not just the self. We must appreciate that in Bhutan, the pursuit of happiness is a collective one. Though a significant portion of the sentiment comes from within, the 9-domain structure of this index attempts to capture that multi-dimensional pursuit. If you want to see this report by yourself, I am providing a link in the description. Please do check it for more information. These are some of the acronyms that are used in this video in the concept of Gross National Happiness. You will find this helpful. See you soon in next video. But meanwhile, if you find this video helpful, please like, comment your views, and subscribe to be connected. Thanks a lot for your valuable time. Thank you. Have a great day.